So we are CoLawyer, and we just want to start with a small video so that you have a basic understanding of what we are going to do. Great. So my name is Anirudh Vashisht, and I am a co-founder of CoLawyer.
My name is Shreyash, and I'm the Director of Marketing.
My name is Isaac Ritz, and I am the CTO of CoLawyer.
Well, CoLawyer is a productivity app that will be serving the Indian legal market in India. And based on my personal interaction with over 100 plus attorneys and lawyers in India, I found that there is a huge gap in that legal industry. And one live example is right here.
So I'm from a family of lawyers and judges, and what I've seen growing up is that they are busy all the time. They have people to call, things to schedule, and they actually have to manually run to the court to get all that information on their cases. And on top of that, there's a lot of paperwork. So this actually leads to a lot of inefficiency and mismanagement, and which ultimately leads to waste of time. And this is just a small case scenario. If you expand this problem countrywide, there's actually 3.2 million cases pending in the courts in India.
Our solution is CoLawyer, a productivity app saving $50 a day for lawyers in India. So we are targeting the Indian legal market, a $6.8 billion market, and about $1.08 billion is spent each year just on legal fees alone in India. We also wanted to target India because there are 1.2 million lawyers, which is higher than any other country in the world, and 291,000 law firms in India. It's also a growing market. Some of the key pain points that we identified is a lot of time wasted doing manual case updates, kind of what Shreyas was talking about. In addition, there's a lot of outdated paper-based methods being used. In a customer development that we did with over 100 lawyers in India, we found that 78% of them were still using paper and pen-based solutions. In addition, it's very difficult to find a lot of the case information that they need for their cases, which oftentimes is dispersed across 24 different high court websites where you have to download 80 to 100 page PDF documents just to find basic case information. So our idea is for lawyers in India that want to increase productivity, CoLawyer is a mobile assistant and productivity tool that provides centralized, real-time, and user-friendly case management to save time for lawyers. So let me break that down. So it's a centralized case management software. So all the information you need for your cases, all of your documents, and all of your notes taking is in one centralized app. What differentiates us from our competitors is real-time case updates, which we'll get into. In addition, to convert a lot of lawyers that are used to traditional methods, we made sure to make sure that our app is as user-friendly as possible.
Well, let me take you through the product side and how we checked whether our business model is feasible or not. So we did a closed user group testing between 40 lawyers, 15 of which were first connections, direct connections, and 25 were random people who are working in the high courts in India. This is the prototype that we developed. It's a small mobile application which looks nice, clean, and we did this based on the feedback of the users. Apparently, based on the closed user group testing, our alpha testing was successful, and most of the users were pretty happy. We got a decent rating, 4.8 out of 5, and most of the lawyers did ask for the live product to use our services. Let me tell you about how we will be running our business. And this business model would be based on the freemium subscription model. So we would be providing a free services for 1 month, which will have a case limit of 5 cases. Apart from that, we would be providing basic and premium version. And basic version would be $5 a month with 20 cases limit. And premium version would be $10 a month, which would be providing access to unlimited cases. Well, premium version is really useful and fruitful for the law firms because lawyers in a big law firms do want to share cases among themselves. So we would be providing the collaboration features. Through just one click, they can share case with their partner lawyers. Coming to the revenue streams, subscription-based model as our revenue stream. We would be generating revenues on monthly, semi-annually, and annually basis. Apart from that, as you all know that big law firms have great number of cases with them. So we would be providing extra storage and security features to them in order to generate revenue. For the long term, we are also focusing on the data analytics side. Since we are talking about huge chunks of data, it's a big data technology, we would be using data analytics in order to provide the long-term solutions for the lawyers in India.
So as Isaac has mentioned, this is a huge market, and to know who our competitors are, we did a competitive landscape. We looked at other apps and technologies currently running in the market. Our biggest competitor is Manupatra. They, in November 2014, released a suite of 9 apps, and they have had about 80,000 downloads since. And also, there has been an 8% increase in their page views since like December 2016. Then there's the government website. So Isaac mentioned that 80-page document that the lawyers have to go to the court to get. The government has started like uploading that on the website, but the website crashes a lot and is very laggy. Then there's another software called Legal that they actually consume a huge part of that market. I don't know why they did not decide to go to the app space, but they are kind of an online repository for all the cases and the bare acts in the legal Indian industry. So we want to compete with them in long term, therefore we'll need to add new features and keep improving. So we want to start with the top 4 cities in India, that's Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, and Bangalore. We selected these cities because of the population there is more tech savvy, and it will be easier for lawyers to adapt to our technology. Then another piece of important information we found was that a lot of the web traffic coming in was from law students, so we want to target them and keep on continuously improving our app from their feedback. Tactically, most of the lawyers in India have subscribed to some kind of monthly law journals. So we want to market and increase our awareness of our app through that. And we also want to sponsor law college events. Technology-wise, the cause list automation, that 80-page document, we can actually directly have that imported from their website using web crawling technology and put it in our app for the lawyers to see, and they can search by name or judges or any case information that they have. Lastly, we want to, as we collect enough data in the next 5 years or so, we want to implement NLP and machine learning that would make the app much more smarter for the lawyers to use.
So based on the execution of these growth strategies, we can very well say that these would be our financial projections. These financial projections are based on the number of units that we will be selling in 1 year. Our net sales by the end of 1 year would be around $170,000. And based on the COGS, revenue, and operating expenses, our EBITDA would be negative $21,000 by the end of 12th month. And these are the realistic projections. And we would be able to do the break even in 13 months. This also includes the pre-startup cost because we would be investing in the beginning in order to start. Coming on to the conversion rate, we would be selling a total of 2,000 units by the end of 1 year. And this would be a split of both basic version as well as premium version. The sales would be going like this. 90% of the revenue would be coming through the basic version, and 10% sales would be coming through the premium version. The sales are expected to grow in the first year like this. You can see that there is a spike in the month of June and July, and the reason for that is because we would be expanding into multiple cities during that duration. That's why we would be having more customers, and that's why we would be having more number of downloads.
So here's a quick look at our timeline. We already did the market survey and the closed user group testing, and we have results from that. Now we're going to approach partners and raise funds in order to improve our technology, the app, and actually launch it in the App Store as well as the iOS. So why do you want to invest in us? We are a team from a very diverse background. One is an MBA in entrepreneurship, and Isaac is doing his major in business analytics, and I am from the information systems department, and I know about the app space. Then our advisor is Sebastian, who's a CFA and venture capitalist, and is a current mentor. And then there's Timothy Huang, who is founder of Fiscal Note, which is also in the legal tech industry.
So we are seeking $200,000 in funding for CoLawyer to launch our app and to expand into the markets and scale our current product. So about $60,000 of this would go into development and operations, working on scaling and developing the core technology of our app. About $80,000 would go into marketing in the first 4 markets that we enter, And then once we've entered these first 4 markets and started to grow, about $30,000 would go into further expansion efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.
So your target market is law firms and the judicial system in India, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So can you describe what the fee structure is for law firms operating in India? Do they bill by the hour? Do they bill on retainer? Can you talk a little about that?
So it depends on lawyer to lawyer. Mostly they are individual lawyers who run their own business. So most of which I know actually bill by the hour, and I'm not sure about the firms though, but I know that a lot of them bill by the hour, and that
So-
can depend on the kind of case this is.
So from an efficiency standpoint, would any of this be eroding their core, which is they bill by the hour? So if I'm more efficient in what I'm doing, that's not time I can't bill to my clients? See what I'm saying?
Right. So, like, interestingly, that's a nice point that they can bill the clients. But nowadays, clients also have the understanding of how networks work. So, one of the aspect of the mobile app is scheduling, and people who want to hire lawyers want the lawyers to be efficient enough to schedule their cases. Currently, there are 3.2 million cases pending in India, and majority of those cases are rescheduled because of the fact that sometimes lawyers were not aware of the dates, sometimes they got late, and sometimes there was not enough documents over there to provide to the court. And all these things can be fixed using the CoLawyer mobile app.
Yeah. So I mean, to kind of build off of that, what Anu was saying, like, there's 3.2 million pending cases. The lawyers are currently overworked. They're currently using very inefficient and outdated technology. So by allowing them to be more efficient, they could take on more cases and make more money.
And then on the judicial side, how would they fund something like this? Do they have to go through a government budget process, or do they have local authority or local budget to fund something? I know the numbers aren't big, but to fund something like that, how do they sign up for something like this? Do they have to go through a complicated?
Actually, there is nothing legal about that, and it's a general mobile application that is available on the iStore and Apple Store. So a lawyer, if they want to use this particular software or an application, they can just use it as a private person.
But if I'm a judge and I want to use it, do I go do the same thing?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, go ahead. So there was a big chunk of your money that's going toward marketing and sales. Can you talk a little bit more about kind of what that would look like?
Yeah, this is kind of how we broke out sales. So just to try to gain some initial exposure, we're putting a lot of it into guerrilla marketing. So this is especially on the college campuses. This is, putting up flyers and billboards especially we thought would be effective to start kind of building the brand. Part of it, so that's 57%, about 14% would be put towards social media because we're trying to target very tech-savvy people. Again, going after the legal websites, the law journals, really trying to target our audience for people that are both tech-savvy, building our brand, and kind of really targeting people interested in the legal industry.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe a little bit more about the product? So how much of what I'm getting from the product is the connection you're making to all this scattered data amongst the court system, and how much is data that I'm putting in about my case notes, my documents, my schedule?
Excellent question. So one of the most interesting aspect of our CoLawyer mobile app is it's not manually, or it's more of an automated generated cause list. So there are the competitors that we discussed about. All the competitors require manual input from lawyers to put in all their personal case information. But we do not ask it. We just ask the unique ID of the lawyers, and we generate the data from the different court websites, and we publish it on behalf of them. So you just have to download the application. You just have to log in your unique ID, and all the information of all the cases would be there in the hand of the click.
So that's all the public information about the cases.
Right.
So this isn't necessarily to provide a repository for all of my own internal documents or any of my working documents or my own internal schedules.
Right. So exactly. So there is a feature of notes through which you can just scan the document, and using an OCI technology you can save it. You can create your own repository. You can also start collecting the data associated to a particular case and link it to that case. You can also do that.
Okay, and then backing up to the case detail, since that's such a core part of the value proposition, what is that like, getting the data from the courts? I mean, you mentioned 24 high courts. Are you also
Right.
going to lower courts? And what is that like, the process of getting all of that data basically sucked into your
Initially,
system?
we want to target the high courts only, and all of the information online is not from lower courts. It's only the high courts, and that is public information. So there should be no legal issues with us extracting that information from the website.
And in order to back that up, there are 24 high courts that we are talking about. Most of the high courts, apart from 2-3 top cities, the websites are really messy and unorganized. So, and lawyers are not that tech savvy in India that they can go onto the website and fetch the details by themselves. So this is something that we are providing them. Like, it's ease of service, convenience, as well as flexibility. They just have to log in, and all the information will come to them directly through the websites. So we are doing the back end work and providing the technology.
So the lawyers typically today would have paralegals or what, going down, getting this data. So this is in theory supposed to save the lawyers cost, right, of their paralegals or assistants going down to get this information. So their billables might be the same, is what I'm thinking. Is their billables be the same? And it's their retrieving of this data, because the lawyers themselves are not going. I mean, what's going on? The lawyers typically going to get the data themselves, or are they sending an assistant? How do they work with it?
I mean, a lot of lawyers I know, only few of them have actually generate that much income that they can hire paralegals and assistants. Not everyone can afford to hire them and get all that work done by someone else. So they can actually focus their time on.
So you're saying most lawyers today are doing the research on themselves, tracking all these cases. And is most of the information online for them just to go online and pull it down themselves?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the information is available online, but it's messy and it's not organized. And there are different high courts websites. So lawyer has to go onto the different websites, download an 80-page document, which court provides. And court is providing the case list of each and every case in that court. So it's a huge list. So lawyers have to manually find their own cases and then list all those down. And you cannot just directly copy paste from those lists. So it's a manual effort.
You are able to differentiate that different than those lawyers?
Absolutely.
As far as to pull the information off of them?
Absolutely. We are using the technology of web crawling and NLP and data analytics, and we are able to pull the data, convert it into a proper structured format, and put it in the mobile application in a excellent graphical interface.
And get rid of the stuff that they don't need.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. Any theories on why any of the incumbents aren't doing this?
Well, couple of competitors, we are talking about the competition, right? Yeah, so a couple of competitors started working on this right now. In fact, government websites by themselves has started providing the SMS text message services, and through which they are providing the case details to the lawyers. But apparently they are very laggy, and it's not, again, the text information is not enough for a lawyer to get all the information about the case. Here you can, over here you can see the case, particular case, and you can just drill down, filter down, and you can view all the details.
Everything that you guys have done is done professionally, which makes me want to provide value to you. I just find it not compelling. The evidence to invest in this, for me, is not compelling. I'm telling you that to give you valuable feedback, because first of all, it's a market, a foreign market, so that's a problem.
Right.
From there. But then you say, okay, I went and surveyed 40, and that's just not compelling enough. I would have been more intrigued if you said, they found it so valuable. We discussed with them if they wanted to participate in a small Kickstarter campaign, and 50% wanted to invest or something. I would find that compelling in the foreign market.
Right.
I'm just trying to provide that feedback to you.
Right.
But for what you presented, there's just no way for me to judge whether or not it's a compelling situation.
Fair enough.
Are you looking for the feedback from the customer development, or are you just saying that kind of from your perspective, you're Could you elaborate on that a little bit more? Why you don't? I don't know.
If you give me 1 second,
Yeah.
I will elaborate. Oh, time's up.
Can I,
Right. Yeah.